We're at the B2B Expo at the Hilton at the Utilita Bowl, and in front of me is an electric plane. Well, the model of an electric plane, but the full-size version is hoped to be built within the next 18 months and potentially adding another layer to Southampton's massive aviation history. To tell us more about this is Josef Mouris from Electron. Josef, hello and welcome to the show. How do you go about thinking that, yes, I want to be an electric plane builder?
Yeah. No, you're right. There is a massive history here, heritage all the way back, and even before R.J. Mitchell and the Spitfire at Southampton Airport. I used to be an airline pilot for 15 years, based out of Southampton for Flybe, and so flying runs in my blood. And during COVID, a couple of things came together for me, and not only did Flybe go bankrupt at the time, which was a shame, losing a lot of the connectivity from Southampton Airport, and this is a trend we've seen globally of regional airports losing connectivity. I started looking at what the future of aviation was going to be like. I have two young daughters. By 2050, it's supposed to be zero emissions, and what are we actually doing about it? And I realized that the only plane you could get was a zero emissions plane, was a two-seater battery electric plane. And we initially looked at operating such planes with passengers, but one passenger, one pilot is not very practical in terms of getting people from A to B. When actually the battery technology has come of age, largely thanks to automotive, also bringing the costs of batteries down significantly in the last 10, 20 years. So we embarked on the next crazy journey, which was, let's build the airplane. Let's just go and build the airplane, and then go from there.
So has this airplane got a name?
It does. It's the E5, or the Electron 5.
Right.
And that is basically because it's a 5-seater plane, so there's room for one pilot and 4 passengers and luggage, which is the next step up from the 2-seater that already exists out there. And then from there, this is perfect for private aviation, where on average you have 2 passengers. Similar in a car, on average you have 2 people. And then from there, of course, eventually we'll hope to build much bigger electric planes as well in the future.
So would, obviously this is for the scenario of someone using this, is it basically business use?
Yeah, so the range of this plane is actually 466 miles, so you can get to Amsterdam and Paris and those kind of things. And 50% of the private flights in Europe are less than 500 kilometers, so we can do that with this plane. That's similar to Tesla when you think about it. They started with the Model S and the Model X. Higher price segment, lower units, and then eventually they built bigger factories and brought the price point down. Here we're starting with private aviation, which is high price point. Actually, the development costs of a small airplane like this are much lower than a 100-seater. For that, you need to bring like 10 billion to the party, which is not going to happen for a startup. And also it's perfectly usable for the second stage of pilot training when you need to do multi-engine training. We have a logistics customer and investor, and there's a few other use cases like surveillance, medical transport, and so forth. So it's quite a versatile plane, and we see quite a versatile customer base the world over. We have 200 million euros in pre-orders so far. And yeah, it's getting from, a lot of work has been done the last 4 years on the technology, on developing the plane and making sure we comply to all the regulations, a very regulated space. And now we plan to actually build a full-size flying prototype in the next 18 months, which will make it much more tangible for people. We can bring it to air shows. We can show that you can actually fly those kind of distances with electric planes today. And then from there, build out the factory to start producing many of these planes for the future.
I can imagine it'd be very exciting to have a plane built and then do the first flight.
Yes.
But at the same time, a certain amount of intrepidation.
Yeah.
Will you be the pilots? Will you be on board?
So I will not be the pilot for the first flights. A test pilot, that's another kind of qualification that is not one that I have. It's a very specific kind of requirement. So I will not be doing that. Saying that, I'm obviously very keen as an ex-commercial airline pilot to get my hands on the sticks and fly this plane as soon as I possibly can after that. And eventually maybe even fly my family from here, from Southampton, to the other half of my family in the Netherlands when possible.
And there's a certain difference between a petrol car and an electric car, mainly the acceleration.
Yes.
As a pilot, is there any difference between a petrol engine or gas engine as opposed to an electric engine in the air?
There is, yeah. We sent a whole engineering team up actually to fly in that two-seater plane to experience it for themselves. The acceleration is faster as well, maybe not as extreme as in automotive, but it's much quieter. It's really a game changer in terms of the noise and what the experience is like in the airplane and for the environment around as well. To put it into perspective, the plane flying overhead should produce around 55 decibels, which is like city background noise. So you will not actually hear the plane flying over the city. It's that quiet.
Probably similar to a drone or quieter than a drone?
Yeah, well, a drone is kind of different. Helicopters also make completely different noises to commercial planes, but it's very quiet.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's it's brilliant. And would the first flight be from Southampton?
Definitely not from Southampton Airport. I operate, even with the runway extension, I operated from the airport for many years. But for first flights, it's not long enough, and also there's busy commercial traffic there. So we need an airport that's quiet and has a longer runway for the first flight. But there is some longer runways not too far away from Southampton.
And in the future, could it fly from Southampton?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually only need around 800-meter runway for commercial operations, which means not just Southampton Airport, but also much smaller airports can be used with this aircraft. And what's interesting is today 80% of people travel through just 1% of the airports globally. And so by bringing the price point of private aviation down by as much as 90%, we can really unlock all those regional airports and bring back that connectivity for the masses, which is something that a lot of people don't realize.
I mean, last question. There used to be a taxi service from Lyon or Solent to the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Do you think this could actually potentially be a taxi service to the island?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. There will be much more connectivity, connections made possible by this plane and planes like it, you will be able to, like an Uber, book in terms of where you want to go, and it will select the nearest airport from where you are and the nearest airport to where you need to go to, you will travel via those small airports.
Fantastic. Well, Josef Mouris from Electron, thank you very much for speaking with us, and we wish you the best of luck with this beautiful electric plane.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.